People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. Now, Arsenal fans, we obviously were sucker punched against Chelsea. They're in the game where the last 60 minutes was really a good performance from Chelsea, or a better performance than in the previous moments. But for me, it's smash and grab in the sense that 8 to 10 minutes away from getting 3 points, we then saw it go from 3 to a point to none. So sucker punch. Through our own, there's things we need to learn from that game. There's positives I would like to take in relation to Man United. There's certain things I wouldn't like to see against United, like the second goal, for example. You see what Chelsea did? I think United have a lot of criticisms around their team, but they're a very good counter-attacking team on their day. They will exploit situations like that, probably more so than Chelsea. Relation to United, obviously, they sit, what, 5th, 6th in the table? I should actually check that and present it to you people, because it's funny how this season works, because Wolves were rubbish a few months ago. Now they're in touching distance of the top 4. United are now 5th on 31 points. Chelsea are on 35. They beat us. They're obviously on 34. Depending on what happens in the Chelsea game, they're putting pressure. Obviously, Spurs are down United's throats as well in 6th position. And if they fail to take 3 points, Spurs might take advantage. I don't even have where Arsenal is in the league, people, because really and truly, does it matter? It's quite disgraceful. But let's check the Premier League table. Last time I checked, we were 11th or 12th. I think with Arteta coming in, we'll beat relegation, people. But you never know. Let me look at the league table. Yeah, we're 12th on 24 points, level with Burnley. Everton and Newcastle are a point above us. Palace are ahead of us. Failed to win, and there's a couple of teams that could go ahead of us, people. Brighton, Southampton, Burnley, they could all make ground on us. So it's been a terrible season. Like I said, there were some positives to take from the Chelsea game. It was a better performance generally. We pressed a bit better. We was organised a bit more defensively. We're actually passing the ball forward. But if we look at it without emotions of an Arsenal fan, there's them positives, but there's still the inconsistencies. Bar the set piece that we scored, did we really test Kepa? I don't think we had statistically that many shots. Do you get? You don't shoot, you don't score. What I love about Arteta is, unlike Emery, the moment this man has come into the club, you see what he wants to do with the team of sorts, people. And I'm liking what I'm seeing in that regards. We've gone from not shooting, not passing around or creating any chances, to just simply not taking our chances. So we will need to improve. We should have built on our early pressure against Chelsea, and we're going to need to do that against United. Like I said, say what you want about this United team. When it comes to big games, they're up for this, people. They're fully up for this, and they should be. They haven't been playing exactly well generally, but what? They beat Newcastle, came from behind to beat Newcastle, and a good, decent win against Burnley away from home. So they're getting their run of form back together after obviously losing to Watford and whatnot. Rashford, I think I've got the statistics somewhere, but he's having his best goal-scoring season. Martial is scoring goals. I do think there's question marks. De Gea seems to be having a sort of crisis of sorts. I'm a big Wan-Bissaka fan, but I think he's someone we should look to take on in that game. He's a very good tackler. I just feel on the recovery there's something there. Really like that Brandon Williams left-back guy, but on the basis of him being young, can we press? Can we be a bit aggressive? I would play him ahead of Shaw, but if Shaw plays, the same logic applies. Maguire is going to win everything in the air, but him and Lindelof and that whole back four have been a bit shaky. They've been as poor defensively as us. Us, Spurs and United have been atrocious defensively. United only have, what, 1 clean sheet in like 14 games or something, similar to us. So both teams really should relish going at the other team's defence, because neither team can keep clean sheets. Potentially in big games, you think it probably comes down to, like against Chelsea, desire, tenacity, simply who wants it the most out of them, people, really and truly. I think I've got the statistics to hand. And if I was United, I'd actually play Mason Greenwood, to be fair. And obviously, in the 1-1 draw at Old Trafford, there's a lot of things we need to learn from that game. We let ourselves down for the goal we conceded. The goal scorer, Scott McTominay, I do believe he's got injury issues. Obviously, the midfield is going to be of importance, because if they ain't got McTominay, who's been consistent within his role in the side for United. Pogba, I don't know if he missed out last game as a precaution to start against Arsenal. But I mean, a half-fit Pogba is better than all the midfielders of both teams, really and truly. And he's someone that's a danger man and always had something to say against Arsenal. And he's someone you'd expect for United to play if possible. If we just quickly browse the statistics in relation to us versus United, I've got it here, people, or just certain points I picked up. Manchester United's Marcus Rashford has 16 goal involvements in 20 league games this season, 12 goals, 4 assists, as many as he got in the previous 33. Martial has scored more Premier League goals, 41, and had more involvements, 61, than any other United player since his debut in September 2015. Has Martial really scored 41 Premier League goals? Right. And it also says Martial has been directly involved in 10 goals in his 13 Premier League starts. So again, players are, their attackers are playing well. Greenwood, a bit of an anomaly. When he gets his moments, he takes it. Fantastic striker of a ball. I know, I'm pretty sure, I don't know because it's United, but I'm pretty sure Man United fans would say by his own standards, Daniel James has dropped off a bit in recent games. But he's still a problem. And if I'm United, I'm being, first and foremost, make sure if Arsenal build any confidence like they did against Chelsea, soak that up. And when they begin to get complacent, like in the second half to a degree, pick them apart, counter-attack. Because I'm very scared of Martial, Rashford, even Lingard, who hasn't scored in the calendar year or assisted, I believe. And obviously Dan James, that counter-attack, we need to be switched on. And it comes down to positional play and players being switched on, people. Like I said, United have one clean sheet in 14. So I think it's a case of both teams need to be brave. As stupid as it sounds, like against Chelsea, it comes down to tenacity, desire, starting the game well, not just creating chances, but creating quality chances, people. Actually testing De Gea. De Gea is a quality keeper in my opinion, but right now his form's on the floor. So put crosses in where he might have to debate, do I come out or not? Create uncertainty within that back line. Do all the things that people would do to Arsenal defence, do it to United's, because again, if you were to look at individuals, they've got a better defence than us. Wan-Bissaka for me is better than Bellerin. Maguire walks into our defence. De Gea is a better keeper than Leno, regardless of his form. I think Tierney, even though he's barely played, Tierney, Kolasinac, I'd rather them ahead of Luke Shaw. Not that tells you I don't really rate Kolasinac or Shaw that tough. But that United defence is still someone that can be got. Somewhere that, look at Everton, how Everton worked that back line. Look how Everton took advantage of United switching off from set pieces for the Lindelof on goal as well, people. There's a lot of positives we can take from our previous game, but we need to, for me, it's the counter-attack, and for me, it's about how we manage the game. Game management is why we threw that game away. You look at the second goal against Chelsea, we're all flying forward. So it's about learning from these mistakes in relation to the game we've got coming. People are not going to feel sorry for us. Yeah, it was a good performance and we lost and whatnot. It is what it is. But people, listen, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. And it must feel like that. Like everything we're trying is going wrong. We can't buy a win. We need to play our way out of it. We just need to stand up to be counted. We cannot feel sorry for ourselves because we simply cannot afford to. Look at the games. After United, in no particular order, I'm sure we play Chelsea again soon. I'm sure we welcome Sheffield United to our place. There's probably the FA Cup, I believe, Leeds. And we've got Crystal Palace away from home. And I'm missing out a game. But there's some difficult games to be had there, people. So we cannot afford to feel, literally, cannot afford to feel sorry for ourselves, people. Really and truly. We just need to get back to winning ways, really and truly. And show what we can do. And only that's going to come by learning, taking the positives from last game, but actually reviewing the post-game analysis and seeing where we went wrong. In relation to the lineup, I'm not too sure who or what I would go with, people, because a bit of me wants to go with not only the same formation, but the same personnel who were involved in the game, obviously, that we recently lost against Chelsea. Because I believe the game plan was there, and I do believe if you keep the same majority of the players, but you chop and change, you do run the risk of losing a bit. United are obviously in blue and they're the attacking team, and like I said, it's the counter-attack. It's the counter-attack, because look at this, not to scale, but look at this was more or less what happened for the second goal we conceded, right? Against Chelsea, people. More or less, yeah, more or less. Alright, fair enough, our defence weren't high, they were here. But more or less, it was like this. Something along these lines. We got caught high up the field, and they simply countered us. 2v1, obviously it wasn't exactly 2v1, but counter-attack. It's about learning from that. Because one thing I'll give United is when they want to counter-attack, they're very good. So we need to be aware of that. Game management. If this scenario happens again, people, can we be a bit more sensible? Do the fullbacks have to necessarily fly forward if we are winning the game or whatever? Do you see what I'm saying? Can midfielders afford to be a bit more disciplined? Say to their centre-halves, drop off a bit. I'll cover. Let's manage out the game. It's about being sensible, and it's about learning from the moments we've gone through already. If I'm Manchester United as well, people. Wait, let me fix up the formation. It's so hard to see from here what I'm actually doing. Let me fix up the formation a bit. Obviously, United, there's probably a couple of question marks. Now, I don't know United's team like that, but I'd imagine De Gea. I would go with Brandon Williams, whatever his name is, because I think he's a decent crosser, and he could give something from United with that. But I think it would be Williams, but it could be Shaw. So my educated guess is, due to experience and whatnot, I will go with Williams, but I'm going to assume it's Shaw. So you've got Shaw there. Wan-Bissaka, he's fast, he's not going to relish it. But for me, one criticism or one thing we can get out with this United side, balls in behind into this space. Wan-Bissaka is a very good tackler, but sometimes he does look a bit shaky on the recovery. Test him. It's more than likely going to be Aubameyang out there, and again, Wan-Bissaka is going to relish pace, but test him. Keep these lot busy. Don't over-respect him. Do you see what I'm saying? Target Shaw, because he's probably the most shakiest in that whole defence, in my opinion. Target Shaw, get into this space in behind. Put balls in behind. Ask De Gea questions. If their defence is as terrible as ours and they're not keeping clean sheets, create uncertainty, put a ball in. Who knows, if De Gea comes for it and Maguire goes for it and it gets dealt with, but there's miscommunication, that can put nervousness within the side. We need to press them early. Damn right, we need to relish the occasion. I want to see the same principles that we did against Chelsea, with learning from the second half. Apply what you did in the first half and learn from the mistakes of the second half. Because really and truly, let's say last 60 minutes of the game, last 15 towards the first half, whole of the second half, Chelsea were at it. So it's about learning from these things. From United, there's uncertainty over the midfield as well, like who they play in midfield. If Pogba's fit, Pogba plays. I saw Pereira play in some sort of advanced role. I know McTominay's injured, and to be fair, Fred's been doing his thing in recent weeks. To be fair, Fred's been looking alright. So Fred will be up for the challenge. I would play Pogba. Boy, I don't know for the creative role. It probably leans towards Lingard. Lingard is a mediocre player. Lingard does mediocre things. There's a reason he hasn't scored in the calendar year, but he's on playing at the Emirates. He's probably revising his dance moves right now, and he'll probably score. So I'd probably go with Lingard. My instinct would be Greenwood, Rashford and Martial, just because I think they're all sick. But there's also the case of Dan James. Now, Saka's been decent, but again, if I'm United, balls into this space, attack this space, because even against Chelsea, Aubameyang did very well to back it, but this I was seeing space here. So if I'm United, I want to attack. I want to get in behind. And if I'm United, I'm actually just conceding. You know what? Let Arsenal get this false confidence. Let them come forward. They're struggling to break teams down anyway, so let's let them come forward. Let's soak up the pressure and then hit them when they're high up the field, like you saw for the second goal. That is what we've got to learn from people. It's all about desire. And for me, I just want to win the game because it's for Arteta. The longer that we don't win the game, as he's our new manager, the more these unnecessary question marks are going to persist about his credentials when we will win the game, and it becomes a bigger thing. Do you get? I know we're playing positive, but there's still certain things we need to learn from to a fair degree, people, if we're going to have any luck in this game. In relation to the lineup, and from an Arsenal perspective, who I would go with, Callum Chambers, it doesn't look good, so Chambers is ruled out. So by default, Sokratis and David Luiz. I don't believe much in Luiz, but he had a terrific game of sorts. Kind of deteriorated in the second half by his own standards, but a good game against his former employers. Sokratis is back from his concussion, so plays. Not sure on Holding's fitness, although he did train at the Emirates before the game against Chelsea. Maitland-Niles deserves to keep his role at right back. If Bellerin's there, then I'd probably, do you know what, if Bellerin's fit and is actually able to play, I'm actually removing Maitland-Niles and putting him into midfield to partner Torreira. By default, Guendouzi needs to play. You lot know me, I sit here and defend Guendouzi all days and weeks. I believe he's a good player and he's going to get better. But right now, it's a form game, and his form at the beginning of the season was quality, and he was one of the first names on the team sheet. Even got called up for France national team. The way he's playing, he's not going to get called up for that. He shouldn't be in the starting lineup, because I watched the game again and I was really unimpressed with what I saw with Guendouzi. Shaky defensively, getting caught up the field, unnecessary fouls. The only thing he's getting right is the handbags and beefing when the other team's talking nonsense. I believe in Guendouzi. I'll back him to play against United and turn it around, but I believe we've got to probably try something different, especially in relation to if Xhaka is not going to play because of this cold in which we all believe it to be. He's moving away from the club. The way Xhaka's been playing, he deserves to be in the lineup, and he would give us something against United. So for me, I'll go Leno in goal, regardless of the mistake. He's been good the whole season, more or less. I know he has made 7 or 8 individual errors. If the team was in a ideal world where we didn't have to speak about bringing in right backs and centre half and central midfielders, I would be looking at goalie, because I don't believe Leno doesn't fill me with any real confidence. He's a good shot stopper, he makes good saves, but he doesn't really fill me with any confidence. But there's other holes in this side. Leno in goal, Socrates and Luiz in defence. Left back, obviously Saka's going to have to do a role for us. Right back, if Bellerin's fit, I'm going with Bellerin. If not, it'll be Maitland-Niles. So I'm going to go with Bellerin. In midfield, I'd go with Maitland-Niles and Guendouzi, to be fair. Mesut Ozil partners them. The front options are a bit mad because I believe Nelson deserves to start. He had a decent game against Chelsea and he probably defends a bit better and a more willingness to do that than Pepe. And I think he helped out Maitland-Niles defensively a lot, in the same way Maitland-Niles going forward helped out Nelson a lot. So Nelson deserves to keep his spot. Aubameyang, for me, one of the best players, if not the best player from an Arsenal perspective in that Chelsea game, deserves to keep his role in midfield. So he will stay in that position. Yeah, man. Mesut Ozil, I'll go with Mesut Ozil in the 10. Torreira, Maitland-Niles if possible. Aubameyang on the flanks. Nelson deserves to keep his spot, but I'm going to lean towards Pepe. I think Pepe not playing, question marks. This is your time to kind of show fans that, yo, I want to do something. Do you get it? So I'm going to go with Pepe. Nelson don't deserve to get dropped. To be honest, if Martinelli's fit, Martinelli should come back into the side and let Aubameyang go through the middle. I know Lacazette does not deserve to start because he was poor, but I believe, do you know what, I'm going to go with Lacazette because I saw positives in the first half collectively from the whole team, people. So I'll go with them again. And plus Martinelli, again, I want him to play, but we need to remember he's a young man. I don't want to assume the moment he's fit again, we must throw him in. Don't want to aggravate anything. So I'd say the toughest decisions in regards to my lineup would probably just be Guendouzi, bringing Martinelli into the side and debating Pepe. So to start again, if it's without considering injuries, heart-to-heart sort of thing, who I would play, Leno in goal, centre-halves by default, obviously Socrates and Luiz, Saka at left back for us, right back Hector Bellerin, praying he's fit. In midfield, I'm going with Maitland-Niles and Torreira because we ain't got no other options, and I think Guendouzi's form, if we're going to go into that United game, I'll support him all the way, but it weren't a confident display from the young man. So I'm going to go with Maitland-Niles in midfield, along with Torreira. Mesut Ozil in that 10 position. Up front, obviously, I'm going to go with Aubameyang, Lacazette, and actually Pepe. Now, Pepe, don't let me down because Nelson don't deserve to start. Lacazette really should be dropped to the bench and allowed us to bring back in Martinelli. And to be fair, I'm starting to change my mind to start Martinelli, but I'm going to stick with the initial lineup I just said. So on that note, people, deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking as usual.